Hi everyone, it's Desiree, Leah to some. I am here with the Simon Says Hooray card kit that they released for a limited edition during their STAMPtember month, which is held all September. So let's jump right into this. So for card one, we're going to do a little bit of watercoloring for our backgrounds, and I'm going to use the Crayola watercolors. I love these watercolor sets. Very simple. I taped my Canson XL watercolor paper down using painter's tape, and I just used the backing of the packaging. I cut it in half. It's a very thick chipboard, and that's what I use because the board that I also have, it's really big, so didn't want to take up too much room here. So I'm just laying down some color. As you can see, I wet the paper first, made sure it was nice and saturated, because you can see when you put your colors on, the colors will move on their own. I am not a watercolor artist. I will never profess to be an artist in any way. I'm a crafter, and I love to create. So you can see with all of those colors, we've created a cute little rainbow going across, and I didn't get mud. So we're going to wet the background on the second one as we did before. And now I'm going to be using the blue. I'm not using any other color. I just want the blue. This is, here what I'm trying to show is from one color. You don't have to mix, but you can get different values, different shading with this one color. So you can see I left some areas white. I now, while this is still very wet, I grabbed a paper towel, I folded it up, and now I'm just dabbing along the top of this. This is doing two things. One, lifting the color, as you can see. And two, it's giving it some texture. Just a little bit different shapes, formations, not so many white spots. And now I'm going back in and just dropping in some more colors to get the different values of the shades. Sometimes I'm a little OCD there, but you can see it looks like puffy clouds. There's our rainbow, and you won't see the rainbow again. Didn't choose to use it, but maybe in a later card. So now I'm pulling off the painter's tape, and this is the panel that we're going to work with for the first card. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm still fighting this cold. It's my allergies. Here's the infamous wonky stitch rectangle die from My Favorite Things. You all are now probably having nightmares with that. Use that to cut that out for my back panel. And I'm going to use this large sticker, and it says Dream. There was another one in the kit that said Love You with a heart in the center, but I wanted to go with the Dream. This sticker also had really good adhesion. I didn't have to add glue. Sometimes with stickers, you just have to maybe add some glue to the back. This one I did not. So you can see I'm just trying to position this from corner to corner. And I'm going to grab the one sentiment. It says never stop dreaming. And yes, I'm cutting into the stamp. It only screamed a little bit. That's why we shook there. It's okay. I cut into my stamps. There's a lot of stamps that I've cut into. It's okay. You can push them back together. And the only section I'm using for that is never stop. And you'll see that I'm actually going to pull out the embossing pen, and I'm going to put 3 dots in front of that. Now, do you notice something that's already off? We already started with a bang with the card making. Yeah. The Dream is in gold, so what do? I use silver embossing powder for the never stop. So what I did was I quick grabbed my gold when I realized this, and I put it on top, thinking, okay, maybe I'll get a mixture. And that's exactly what I kind of got. After doing that the first time while it was still warm, I put some more gold embossing powder on top of it, and I have this slight mixture going across. So now we've got to stick with this. So I used the 2 hearts in the kit, the outlines, the small and the large, grabbing that silver and gold, and you can see I'm just going across in different areas with the silver and the gold. So when I put the powder on, I dump back in, but I don't tap the background. I'll do that on a piece of paper. And you can see I've got these different flecks. It blended together. It's actually pretty cool. It's a shame the camera really can't pick that up too much. I did have to take that sticker off because with all the heat that I was putting on it, it was coming off of it. But it stuck right back onto my panel. I used my tape runner that I'm about out of, which is good because it's discontinued. And I put that on my 4 1/4, 5 1/2, technically a top folding, but now it's a side folding. So for card number 2, I'm using one of my inks from Stampin' Up. I will have that listed below. The name I just lost. Marina Mist would be the name of that ink. And I'm using my Favorite Things cloud stencil. This is the large, not the mini. And I'm also using a product by Nuvo, the blending brushes. These are fantastic. So if you're thinking about getting them, get them. So I did that down the back panel, used the My Favorite Wonky die again. And now on, again, a Canson XL watercolor sheet, I'm going to stamp the 2 sides of, or sizes of the clouds. They had, of course, a small and a large. So I'm using the ink from the Stampin' Up! The Marina Mist, and I'm using my water brush, and I'm just using that to just give the clouds just a little bit of color. Not too much. We want it really faint. And then we're going to fussy cut them out. So now on this panel that we have, I'm actually trying out this liquid glue Monotombo adhesive. So far I like it. I always try new glues. I still love my art glitter glue, but the container that it was in busted, so I'm very upset. So that's another reason why we're trying this. So always have to have plan B. So now I'm just adhering the clouds along the bottom, and then that top cloud is going to be propped up on some foam squares. I'm using one of the die cuts. In this kit, you got a huge packet of die cuts. So I'm using one of them, and you can see I'm taking off that cloud because, yep, there's an error. Again, we don't give up. We remove as much of the foam squares as we can, and we're going to stamp our sentiment. Now, this sentiment did not come in the kit. This is from an Avery L stamp set that I have that actually are the same type of animals that I'm using here, and it says, "Some bunny loves you." So let's see if you can see the correlation with this card and the awesome blunder of what this card holds. If anybody knows it, please put it down in the comments. Maybe a gift if you can get it right. So have these little stickers that look just like the die cut, so we're going to place them around on this card base as well. And we're also going to pull in some of the regular puffy balloons in here, and we're just going to set them up into this sky area. Once we've chosen, we're all doing this together. Once I've chosen the stickers that I want to use, I'm going to adhere this again on my top folding 4 1/4 or 5 1/2, and I'm using the blue cardstock that came with the kit. I grabbed my Micron, the tip is an 01 black pen, and I'm drawing the strings down into the clouds. So it's almost like these balloons are coming up from the clouds, so to speak. When it comes to the animals, maybe bunnies, maybe puppies, I'm adding 2 lines underneath the feet and then making it look like they're connected. I'm using my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen for the clouds, and then I will also use it up onto the main die cut balloon as well. And that is card number 2. For card number 3, I'm going to cut my base. We all know the die, wonky rectangle, My Favorite Things. And we're going to use a white 4 1/4, 5 1/2 top folding card base. I cut out from the papers that we had. Now remember, there was a full pack of pattern paper in this kit from Pebbles, and I used one of them to cut out 2 strips of the guess they're gummy bears. So I ran that through my die cutting machine as well with the stitch rectangle so that I could have that design going around them. I'm using my Tombow Mono glue to adhere that down on the side. And what I found really cool was the puffy stickers are the same size. If somebody said this in one of the videos, I missed it. But I thought this was awesome. So I'm actually using some of the stickers and putting them on the exact color that match each other. So again, it's giving it some dimension up onto the side. And then I'm using another one of the die cuts, or excuse me, from the pattern papers. Of course, they had sentiments on 2 of the sheets. And I'm using the one that says party repeatedly. I'm going to use my tape runner and adhere that to my top folding card base. I change my mind and I go with an orange. Again, I show you my whole thought process as I do my films. I have the entire collection of the Ranger enamel accents. So here I'm using the yellow. This is the pink gumball. And I think they work very well. Don't get me wrong. I do love the Nouveau. I have the entire collection of the jewel drops because I like the transparency. And I'm slowly building my collection of the gloss ones. But I do love these Rangers because they actually match the dye inks as well that Ranger has for their dye inks. And that is card number 3. For card number 4, I'm going to be using these puffy stickers. And yes, they are extremely puffy. I pulled these 3 pieces of pattern paper and I'm going to use my favorite things nesting square or stitch square dies. And I cut 3 out. One is smaller than the other 2. So I'm going to be using that large star. I did add some of the glue to the back of these. While they were stickers, they weren't really that sticky. I was afraid that they were going to pop off the card. So just put a little bit of glue with the adhesive on the back. I'm going to use the small square camera, and that's going to go on the small square that I've die cut out. And then we're going to grab the larger camera. And that, of course, is going to go on the other big square that was die cut out. And those are our 3 focal points. I'm now going to just glue them onto, I grabbed the purple from the card kit. Again, it is a top folding 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And we're just going to glue the 2 large ones down directly onto the base. And the smaller one, I'm actually going to put that up using some foam squares. And then we will set that in place. And if you haven't taken notice, I really do like setting things on angles. Yes, there are times where you put things at a 90 degree. I love to tear paper and just put things on angles, not make them 90 degree angles. Aren't happy with me. Drives my husband crazy. So I'm using this glue. I don't like the applicator, but I'm putting some glue down, and there's those awesome iridescent sequins again. Yes, they are my favorite. Just to give it a little bit more accent. So for the final card, you can see we're going really quickly. I wanted to stick with what was in the kit to show that there was so much in here that could be utilized. So I cut down my card base, or excuse me, the card design base, using my wonky stitch rectangle. And then there was a sheet in this kit of washi papers. So I'm using some of these and just laying them down on this piece of paper prior to me die cutting it. Sorry about that. I have not die cut it yet. I actually pulled 1 piece of washi tape from my stash. It's a huge stash. It's absolutely obnoxious. And there's another one that I've pulled from my stash. And then I'm going to use the last one with the cupcakes going across the top because that'll match our sentiment that I chose. Happy birthday cupcake. I'm going to pull this up from my pad there, and I'm just going to push the washi tape to the other side. And then we're going, now we'll run this through the die cutting, which will then, on the other side, it secured it in with the stitching. And now we're going to place our 2 cards. Something that was bothering me was where the cupcake sentiment had rounded corners, this one did not. So these are what I just use as a small rounder that I use when I make my junk journals to round some papers and tags and such. And they're really nice. Again, I'll link them down below. I adhere the happy birthday cupcake with some foam tape, and I'm cutting down the second one with, of course, the cupcake, picture of the cupcake, just cutting it down. I didn't want to lose the washi tape that I had put down. I wanted to be able to see it. So I'm just trimming this down, going to go around the corners again, and then just determining how we're going to set this down onto it. So I wanted it to be straight as well. See, no angles. There we go. Up against that, we're going to adhere this. I chose the bright yellow from the card kit. I'm using my Spectrum Noir just to cover the cupcake that's on the card front. And then I'm also using here again, this is from Studio G. AC Moore has a section of the Studio G items, whether it's stamps or this glitter glue. And I really like this glitter glue. You take your chance with some of them. It's only $1. So I'm giving this a shot to see how this goes. I was pleasantly surprised with these. Give them a try. If you have a local AC Moore's or another location that does sell the Studio G products, they're not bad. It's a good way to start. These are the cards that are part of this video that we did here in part 1. Part 2 will be coming out later on this week. If you like this video, please, by all means, hit that thumbs up button. Let me know. Also, leave a comment if you have any questions. The products that I used will be listed down below in the description as always. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around and supporting me with my channel. And as I said, there will be a special video when it comes to this kit coming soon. Remember, everyone, be creative.